Welcome back to my channel Rare Coins Shop. If you love discovering hidden treasures, you're in the right place. First, we're revealing some coins that could be worth way more than you think. Stick around to find out. New here? Like, subscribe, and let's dive in. We've got a real treat for you, the United States of America 1-cent coin from 1960. This seemingly ordinary coin could be worth far more than you'd ever imagine, so stay with us as we explore why this little copper penny could be worth a lot more than its face value. At first glance, the 1961 cent coin might seem like just another piece of everyday currency, but there's more to this coin than meets the eye. You might be wondering, how can something as simple as a penny be worth anything significant? Well, the answer lies in the rarity, history, and special features of the 1960 penny. It's not just a coin from the past, it's a treasure that can make collectors' dreams come true. Let's start with some history to understand why the 1960 penny is so special. In 1960, the United States was at a fascinating crossroads in history. It was a time of cultural change, political shifts, and significant economic growth. It was also an era when coinage was being produced with a mix of traditional minting processes and some newer techniques that would change how coins were made in the future. The 1961 cent coin was part of this important time in American history and has some subtle, yet crucial, differences from other pennies that followed. One of the most remarkable features of the 1960 penny is its composition. Unlike today's pennies, which are made mostly of zinc and copper, the 1960 penny is composed primarily of 95% copper, making it much heavier and giving it a rich, shiny appearance that we no longer see in modern pennies. That copper content makes it stand out from the pennies you find today, and it's one of the reasons collectors find this coin so appealing. Now, let's talk about the design of the 1960 penny. On the obverse, or front, of the coin, we see the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln. This portrait of the 16th President of the United States was designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner and has appeared on the penny since 1909. In 1960, the image of Lincoln was as familiar to the American public as it is today, but what makes this year different is in the details. One of the key features that collectors are especially keen on is the mint mark, or lack thereof. If you take a closer look at the 1960 penny, you'll notice that it has a unique feature involving the positioning of the mint mark. Some 1960 pennies were struck with a small mint mark that indicated they were produced in either the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco mints, while others were produced without any mint mark. This minor difference can make a huge impact on the coin's value, as certain variations are rarer than others, but it's not just the mint mark that makes this penny so sought after. The 1960 penny has a unique characteristic: there was a small change in how the coins were produced that year. In 1960, a number of pennies were struck with the so-called small date variety. The size of the 1960 on the coin was different, which, in turn, made it a special edition that many collectors are eager to find. The small date version of the penny is often much rarer than its large date counterpart, which significantly adds to its value. So, why does this all matter? Well, to collectors, even the smallest difference can make a huge difference in terms of value. A 1960 penny with a small date, a unique mint mark, and the right condition can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. Condition is another crucial factor. Like many other rare coins, the state of preservation plays a major role in determining its value. A penny that has been well preserved, without any heavy wear, scratches, or discoloration, can be worth significantly more than a well-used coin. But here's the real kicker: the 1961 cent coin can be worth far more than you might expect if you happen to have one in exceptional condition or with one of those rare minting variations. The truth is, some of these pennies, especially those with the small date and in mint state, have sold for staggering amounts at auction. You might be wondering just how much these pennies can actually be worth. Well, brace yourselves, because this is where the story gets truly exciting. A 1961 cent coin, in uncirculated condition, with the right mint mark and small date variety, could be worth as much as $105,000. Yes, that's right, $105,000. A single penny, once considered just a piece of change, can fetch a life-changing amount of money. Now, imagine you're cleaning out your old coin jar or digging through some old change you inherited from a relative. If you find a 1960 penny and it happens to be one of those rare small-date versions in excellent condition, you could be holding on to something much more valuable than you ever imagined. For collectors, finding such a coin is like striking gold. It's rare, it's exciting, and it's a reminder of how the smallest details can make all the difference in the world of numismatics. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, the 1961-cent coin is a prime example of how rare coins can surprise you and hold far more value than what's printed on the face of the coin. So, if you happen to come across a 1960 penny in your collection or during your coin hunting, take the time to examine it closely. You never know if you're holding a piece of history that could be worth more than you ever imagined. Second rare coin, we have something truly exciting to talk about: the United States of America 1-cent coin from 1976. While this coin may look like any other penny you come across, there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. If you think this penny is just pocket change, think again. Stick around because we're about to uncover the hidden value of the 1976 1-cent coin, and trust me, it's worth paying attention to. 1976 was a monumental year in American history. The United States celebrated its bicentennial, 200 years of independence. To commemorate this historic event, there was a special burst of patriotic spirit, and the nation's coinage was no exception. While most people are familiar with the special commemorative designs that graced the quarters and half dollars of that year, the 1976 penny also has some hidden treasures, making it an unexpected gem for coin collectors. But what exactly makes this penny so special? Let's dive in. First, let's talk about the design of the 1976 1-cent coin. On the obverse, or front, you'll find the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which has been featured on the penny since 1909. This iconic image, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, continues to serve as a reminder of Lincoln's leadership and his legacy in American history. However, while the design itself has remained largely unchanged, it's the small differences in how these coins were minted that make certain 1976 pennies incredibly valuable. One of the key factors that influence the value of the 1976 penny is its minting location and condition. Like other years, pennies in 1976 were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and it's important to know where your coin was struck. Some of these mints produced pennies with unique characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. For example, the 1976 pennies from the Philadelphia Mint, which did not include a mint mark, are much more common than those from the Denver or San Francisco mints. But it's not just about where the coin was minted, condition is another huge factor. A penny in mint condition, with sharp details and no wear, can significantly increase the value of the coin. Coins that have been circulated heavily or are in poor condition usually don't fetch much more than their face value, but those that have been preserved in uncirculated condition can be worth far more. But here's where things start to get really interesting: the 1976 1-cent coin also holds value for its rare varieties. You see, during the 1976 minting, there were some unique errors and differences in the way the coins were struck. One of the most notable varieties is the double die variety, where the coin's design was struck multiple times, causing certain details, like the date or lettering, to appear more prominently or be doubled. These errors are incredibly rare, and as a result, they can add tremendous value to a coin. If you happen to find a 1976 penny with a double die error, especially one with the date and lettering clearly visible, you could have a real treasure on your hands. These coins are highly sought after by collectors, and finding one in good condition can make all the difference in the world when it comes to their value. Another factor that can make the 1976 penny valuable is the fact that it was part of the bicentennial celebrations. The U.S. Mint produced special designs for various coins, including the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, to mark the country's 200th birthday. While the penny didn't get an entirely new design, the special minting period during this historic event added a layer of significance to the coins of that year. And here's something even more surprising: although most 1976 pennies were produced in large numbers, some rare variations have surfaced that command big money. The key to determining a coin's value lies in its rarity, condition, and any special features it may have. Some of these rare 1976 pennies, especially those with minting errors or unique characteristics, have sold for significant amounts of money at auction. Now, we know what you're all thinking. How much could a 1976 1-cent coin actually be worth? Well, hold on to your hats, because the answer might just blow you away. If you happen to have a 1976 penny in exceptional condition, with one of those rare double die errors or other unique features, it could be worth as much as $89,000. That's right, $89,000. Imagine stumbling upon a coin that, at first glance, seems like just a piece of pocket change, only to discover it's worth an astounding sum of money. It's not every day that a penny can make you a small fortune, but for collectors, finding a rare 1976 1-cent coin with those special characteristics could be life-changing. So, if you've got an old jar of pennies or are looking through your change, take a moment to check the year and examine the coin carefully. If you find that it's a 1976 penny in excellent condition or with a rare variety, you may be holding on to a valuable treasure. In conclusion, the 1976 1-cent coin might seem like just another penny, but for those who know what to look for, it can be a real goldmine. From the bicentennial significance to the rare minting errors, this little coin holds the potential to make any collector's dreams come true. If you find one in mint condition or with a unique error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. We hope this video has opened your eyes to the hidden value of the 1976 penny. Remember, when it comes to coin collecting, it's all about paying attention to the details, whether it's the mint mark, the condition, or any unique features. So, keep your eyes peeled and your hands steady as you search through your coins. Who knows? The next time you go through your spare change, you could be holding onto a piece of history worth far more than its face value. Third expensive coin, we're going to take a closer look at a coin that might just surprise you, the United States of America 1-cent coin from 1980. At first glance, you might think this is just another penny, but stick with us because this particular coin holds hidden treasures that could make you a lot of money. When you think about the 1980s, what comes to mind? Maybe you're thinking about the rise of personal computers, the popularity of arcade games, or the music of Michael Jackson. But did you know that 1980 also holds a special place in the world of coin collecting? That's right. The 1981 cent coin, with its seemingly ordinary design, has some unique features that make it highly sought after by collectors. So, let's take a journey back to 1980 to understand what makes this penny special. The 1980 penny features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design has been on the penny since 1909 and remains one of the most recognized images in American coinage. However, while the design itself has stayed the same, it's the subtle differences in the minting process that make this coin intriguing. During 1980, the U.S. Mint produced a large number of pennies, but as with all coins, not every one was made in exactly the same way. Small variations in the minting process can result in coins that are more valuable than others. This is where the excitement begins. One of the most significant features of the 1980 penny lies in the existence of rare errors that occurred during production. One such error is the double die variety, where the design elements, such as the date or the lettering, appear doubled on the coin. This is a minting mistake, and when it happens, it makes the coin unique and much more valuable. These double die errors are very rare, and because of that, they have captured the attention of collectors who are always on the lookout for such rare finds. If you happen to find a 1980 penny with a double die, you could have a coin that is worth far more than its face value. Another important factor that affects the value of the 1980 penny is its condition. Like most coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. A penny that has been preserved in uncirculated condition, with no scratches, dents, or signs of wear, is far more valuable than one that has been tossed around in pockets for decades. Coin collectors are always searching for those pristine specimens that have been well kept and remain in the same condition they were in when they first left the mint. As the years go by, it becomes harder to find coins in perfect condition. The 1980 penny, like many older coins, was circulated widely and can be found in a variety of conditions. But if you're lucky enough to find one that is in excellent shape or has a rare error, you could be sitting on a treasure. Now, let's talk about the overall rarity of the 1981 cent coin. While it's true that millions of these pennies were produced, some of them are much rarer than others. For example, certain coins from the 1980 production run were struck with unusual characteristics due to issues with the dies or other factors at the mint. These coins are the ones that collectors are looking for, and they can command a higher price on the market. But here's the part that really gets exciting. What is the value of a 1981-cent coin if you happen to find one in excellent condition or with one of these rare errors? Well, the answer may surprise you. A 1980 penny, especially if it's an uncirculated specimen or one with a double die error, can be worth as much as $60,000. Yes, you heard that right, $60,000. Imagine finding a 1980 penny in your collection or at a coin shop and realizing that it could be worth this much. That's the beauty of coin collecting. What might seem like a small, insignificant coin could actually be worth a small fortune. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, the 1981-cent coin is a perfect example of how a little attention to detail can lead to discovering something truly valuable. So, how do you go about finding these rare coins? Well, the first step is to examine your pennies carefully. Look for any signs of doubling on the date, lettering, or other parts of the coin. A double die error will often be most visible on the date, where the numbers appear thick or slightly duplicated. Also, check the condition of the coin. If you have a penny from 1980 that looks like it was never in circulation, you might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. If you happen to come across one of these rare 1980 pennies, it's always a good idea to have it appraised by a professional coin dealer. They can help you determine if it's worth the significant amount of money that we've mentioned. In conclusion, the 1981-cent coin is a great example of how something as simple as a penny can hold enormous value for the right collector. With rare minting errors, special varieties, and the possibility of finding uncirculated examples, this coin is more than just a piece of currency, it's a valuable collector's item. So, the next time you go through your change, make sure to keep an eye out for a 1980 penny. Who knows? You might just be holding onto something worth far more than its face value. Now, we have a real gem to talk about, the United States 1-cent coin from 1974, specifically the 1974D variety. Now, you might think this coin is just another penny, but trust me, there's far more to it than meets the eye. This seemingly ordinary coin has some serious value, and we're going to explore exactly what makes the 1974D penny so special and how much it could be worth. So, stay with us until the end because you're about to learn about a coin that could be worth a small fortune. First off, let's take a step back and look at the 1974 1-cent coin in its historical context. The 1970s were an interesting time in the U.S. The country was dealing with economic challenges like inflation and the aftermath of the Vietnam War, yet it was also a time of significant cultural and political change. 1974 was no different. The year saw important events in American history, and the U.S. Mint was busy producing millions of pennies, including the 1974D coin, which is still highly sought after by collectors today. Now, when we talk about the design of the 1974 1-cent coin, it's important to remember that it was struck with the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This image, designed by Victor David Brenner, has been featured on the penny since 1909 and remains one of the most iconic designs in American coinage. While the design of the penny stayed the same, what makes the 1974D penny stand out is the mint mark and the specific conditions under which it was struck. You see, the 1974D penny was produced at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D mint mark. But it's not just the mint mark that makes this coin special. What sets the 1974D penny apart is that, over time, certain varieties have emerged that make the coin far more valuable than most people realize. This is where the story gets really interesting. As with many other years, small errors in the minting process can lead to valuable variations of a coin. In the case of the 1974D penny, one of the most highly sought-after varieties is the double die variety. What's a double die coin, you ask? Great question. A double die is a type of minting error where the coin's design is struck multiple times, causing the images and text to appear doubled or offset. For the 1974D penny, this double strike can sometimes be seen on the date, with the 1974 appearing thicker or with two distinct impressions. The most notable place to look for the double die error is in the digits of the year. If you find a 1974 D penny with a visible doubling in the date, you could have a rare, valuable coin on your hands. Now, you might be thinking, how do I tell if my 1974 D penny has this error? Well, the best way to check is by closely examining the year. Look at the numbers in 1974. If you notice any doubling or if the digits seem thicker than usual, you could have a double die variety. It's important to note that these coins are extremely rare, and most 1974 D pennies you'll come across won't have the error. That rarity is what makes them so special and valuable, but rarity alone doesn't guarantee a high price. Condition plays a massive role in determining a coin's value. A coin that has been heavily circulated, scratched, or damaged won't be worth nearly as much as one that is in excellent condition. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have been preserved in mint condition, so a 1974 D penny with the double die error in uncirculated condition could be worth significantly more than one that has seen years of wear and tear. If you're lucky enough to find a 1974 D penny in pristine condition with the double die error, it could be worth much more than its face value. But what kind of price are we talking about here? Well, brace yourself, this coin could be worth as much as $81,000. That's right, $81,000. Imagine finding a coin that's been sitting in your pocket, jar, or collection all these years, and realizing it's worth a small fortune. It's enough to make any coin collector's heart race. Now, I know what you're thinking, how do I find a 1974 D penny like this? The truth is, you'll need to do some serious coin hunting. If you're going through a box of loose change or sifting through old pennies you've collected over the years, keep an eye out for any 1974 D coins. Carefully examine the year for any signs of doubling, and check the overall condition of the coin. If you find one in great shape with the double die error, you could be holding onto something very valuable. If you think you found a 1974 D penny that might be worth something, it's always a good idea to have it appraised by a professional coin dealer. They can help you confirm whether the coin is indeed a rare variety and give you a more accurate value based on its condition. In conclusion, the 1974 D 1-cent coin is far from just an ordinary penny. With its double die error, rarity, and the potential for finding an uncirculated specimen, this coin can be worth far more than the 1 cent it's marked with. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, it's always worth keeping an eye out for these rare varieties because you never know what hidden treasures are waiting for you in your collection. Last unique coin, we have something exciting to talk about, the United States of America 1-cent coin from 2001, specifically the 2001 D penny. You might think this is just another penny that's been sitting in your jar or pocket, but trust me, there's more to it than you think. This little coin might be worth far more than its face value, and you'll be surprised by what we're about to reveal. Let's take a moment to step back and look at the year 2001. It was a year of big changes and challenges for the United States, from the tech bubble bursting to the tragic events of September 11th. Yet, in the world of numismatics, 2001 was also an interesting year for coin collectors. While most people didn't think twice about tossing their pennies into their pockets or jars, there were some important things happening at the U.S. Mint that would lead to a valuable discovery years later. The 2001 D penny, struck at the Denver Mint, may seem ordinary, but it has something special hidden beneath its surface. First, let's talk about the design of the 2001 1-cent coin. As with most modern pennies, the obverse features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, which has been a staple on U.S. pennies since 1909. Designed by Victor David Brenner, Lincoln's image remains one of the most iconic in American coinage history. But what makes the 2001 penny stand out is not necessarily the design, but the subtle differences in the minting process and the condition of the coin. The 2001 D penny was struck with the same familiar Lincoln design, but what makes this coin valuable are the rare varieties and the condition in which it was preserved. While most 2001 pennies that were produced have been used in circulation for years, some have remained in excellent, uncirculated condition, and it's those coins that could be worth much more than you might expect. Condition plays a huge role in determining the value of a coin. A penny that has been carefully stored or kept in pristine condition can fetch a significantly higher price than one that's seen years of wear and tear. Now, let's talk about one of the most important factors in determining the value of a 2001 penny: rarity. Although the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies in 2001, not all of them are created equal. Over the years, some of these coins have been lost, damaged, or melted down, while others have been preserved in excellent condition. So, if you happen to have a 2001 penny that is in uncirculated condition and has been kept in pristine shape, you could have a very rare coin on your hands. But there's another layer to this story: minting errors. Mint errors are mistakes that occur during the coin's production process, and they can add significant value to a coin. While many 2001 pennies were struck without issue, there are some rare varieties that stand out due to minting mistakes. One of the most sought-after errors is the wide AM variety, where the letters A and M in America on the reverse side of the coin appear to be spaced further apart than usual. This error occurred because of a misalignment in the die that was used to strike the coins. The wide AM error is a rare mistake, and it's the kind of feature that collectors look for when searching for valuable coins. If you happen to find a 2001 penny with this unique error, it could increase the value of the coin significantly. But how can you tell if your coin has this error? Simply take a look at the reverse side of the penny, where America is written. If the A and M are noticeably wider apart than on a regular penny, then you've likely discovered a valuable variety. Now, let's take a moment to discuss the value of these rare and well-preserved coins. A standard 2001 penny is worth just 1 cent, but if you find one in uncirculated condition or with a rare minting error, it could be worth so much more. For example, a 2001 penny with the wide AM error in great condition can fetch prices well above its face value. In fact, if you happen to own one of these rare varieties, it could be worth as much as $22,000. That's right, $22,000 for a single penny. You might be wondering, how does a penny that was worth just 1 cent in 2001 become worth $22,000 today? The answer lies in the rarity, the condition, and the collector demand for these rare coins. Collectors love to hunt for these unique varieties and errors, and they are willing to pay top dollar for them. So, if you come across a 2001 penny that seems to have something different about it, whether it's the wide AM error or simply excellent condition, you could be holding on to something that's worth a fortune. So, how do you start your search for this valuable coin? First, you'll want to keep an eye out for 2001 pennies in your collection, especially if you've saved some older pennies in a jar or coin box. Look for any signs of wear or damage that could affect the coin's condition. Next, carefully examine the reverse side of the coin, paying close attention to the America text. If you notice the letters A and M appear unusually wide, then you may have discovered the rare, wide AM variety. If you find one in good condition, it might be time to get it appraised by a professional coin dealer to see just how much it's worth. In conclusion, the 2001 penny is more than just pocket change. With its potential for rare minting errors like the wide AM variety and its appeal to collectors, this coin can be worth far more than its original face value. So, the next time you go through your spare change or rummage through a coin collection, take a moment to examine those 2001 pennies carefully. You might just find a rare treasure worth thousands of dollars. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the fascinating world of coin collecting, be sure to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on another exciting discovery. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!